DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. It's a wonderful, wonderful Monday evening in the city that we love, huh?
Absolutely. So we got another great show lined up.
Well, remember now, you've often criticized me about my, my fashion instincts. So hopefully we'll have some pointers from some guys who really, really know the biz. Okay.
I've never criticized you on your fashion instinct because that would leave me open to be criticized. So
we'll never do that. Well, you know what? First of all, we got to bring out a returning guest. He's the one, the only Louis Johnson Jr. Bring him out. Louis.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Louis?
Good evening. Happy Monday.
You got it. And
Louis from Harlem Haberdashery.
Thank you. That's right.
Let's give him all his props.
All his props. And you know
10
what?
Years old now. 10 years old. I guess
that's how long now?
Wow.
We'll be 10 years old. So everybody, I'll make an announcement. Everybody has to be at my boutique May 7th. It's mint juleps and it's Kentucky Derby. So June 7th.
All right.
Okay. We are there with bells
May
on.
7th. Next month.
Yeah, soon. That's soon.
Our next guest actually referred to us by none other than Louis himself. I did not even know about his collective. So please bring out Edwing D'Angelo. Bring him out.
Hey guys,
yeah.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
All right. Good to have you. Colombia's loss is our gain. So yes.
Amen.
Welcome. And now, needless to say,
there's another 15 million of us down there.
All
right.
Excellent. So our next gentleman we're going to bring out here. Actually, you know what? I first ran into him when I was actually getting my breakfast, and I saw him working in this particular space, and the space was once utilized by BB Noir. And so I looked in there, and brother, I mean, he has, as they say, the people skills necessary to be in a community like Harlem. That can only be Mr. Dominique Banks. Bring him out.
Good morning, man. Good morning.
All right. Welcome.
Yeah. Showing up the Dominici Collective, my man.
Yes, sir. Trying to get to that 10-year mark like Louis in the Harlem Haberdashery.
Well, gentlemen, one by one, I got to actually understand your journey. Understand, how you guys ended up also in the fashion space, the fashion forward space. Because if there's one thing we certainly do know about the Harlem Renaissance, is to put Harlem on the map for arts and culture, but also style, man. Style was the one defining thing about Harlem fashion. So please tell us, Louis, tell me about it.
Well, I mean, I got in this when I was a baby. I just knew fashion was my thing. I just knew that I always wanted women to be fly. I wanted them to be sexy. I didn't like flats. I didn't like sneakers. I still pretty much do not like those things, but I came in this full-fledged doing women's fashion from all the way 6th grade all the way up until I graduated from college. I went to the FITM, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. I graduated as a ladies' formal designer with a minor in marketing and design. So I just knew it was something I was going to do, and I moved to New York 30 years ago with $117 in my pocket, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I did it. I hustled. I found out that H in Harlem meant hustle, and I hustled.
Excellent. Oh, my man. So, Edwing, please, coming in from, of course, Colombia, please do tell.
It's about actually I'm celebrating this August 1st my 20th anniversary in fashion, and April 1st I celebrated the opening of my atelier here in Harlem in my first year, and it has been a journey. As Louis, I knew I wanted to do fashion from day one in my life, and I am fortunate to be fifth generation of tailors. Started with my great grandfather, and it has been passed down to the throughout the generations. I am actually the first one in the family to make it an actual business outside of the home. Previous to me, everybody kind of had it, a situation in their homes, and people will go to their. I'm the first one to actually make it outside of the house. I mean, I graduated since I already knew that the craftsmanship of garment making. I decided to go to school for learn how to sell it. So I went to Baruch College for marketing and fine arts. I did a double major. And August 1st, 2002, I opened my first boutique on Broadway and 125th Street, right under the train station.
Wow.
There's a Japanese restaurant today, which was a terrible mistake, but I mean, it was what they call the learning curve. because of the housing of the escalators, nobody could see the store. So, but it was a great ride. It gave me that kick to get started. After that, I went downtown, opened in Soho, Chelsea. And I'm in a full circle. I'm back in Harlem stores, so I can't complain. Life has been great.
Beautiful, beautiful. Dominique.
Hello.
And Dominique, you know, I got to throw it out there because remember, last time I checked, we were in the middle of a pandemic.
We were, and still are.
Still are, that's right. And you decided to open up. So tell us your journey.
Yeah, so my journey was not as linear as the other two gentlemen. I actually grew up and was born and raised in Tennessee. And similar to them, I knew fashion was something I always wanted to do, but I didn't have any line of sight to that growing up where I did. So I kind of did the traditional corporate ladder thing for a while. And I've just found myself to be extremely unhappy during that time in my life. So packed up a U-Haul with my best friend, drove to New York. I think I maybe had $25 in my pocket, so a little bit more than Lewis at the time. And my first few years in New York, I wanted to get acclimated to the city. So I partied a lot, tried to make connections. And then I finally decided to sit down and take the next step of my career seriously. So I went to FIT, got my second degree in Fastest Business Management, where I graduated with honors. And from that point, started the planning process for the Dominici Collective. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit in 2020, right as I began to look for a retail space, which kind of threw a wrench in my plan a little bit. But like I said, I knew ultimately what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to die without having at least attempted to make a stride towards my dreams. So I sold the property that I had back in Tennessee and reinvested all that money in myself. And now you see the Dominici Collective in the heart of Harlem.
Indeed. So I mean, for all of you guys, I have to say and whatnot that in terms of fashion is something that definitely has spoken to you, something that you really can't even see yourself doing without. Dominique, you said whatever you tried that corporate thing. Lewis, now you said from an early age, and certainly Edwing, you had a family of tailors, so fashion has always been around you. But what would you say was one of the defining moments that you said, you know what? Yeah, this is what I want to do forever and ever. Anyone take it.
All right. So in my case, when my parents brought me to live in New York, fashion wasn't a thing for them because, as I said, we're fifth generation, but in the technique aspect of things, so none of us have made it to anything significant. So my parents assumed that, okay, he has a little bit of brain. Why come to New York to do the same old thing that we have been doing back home? So they pushed me really hard, as Latin parents do, to become a lawyer. So my first job in New York City was to work in a law firm, and I did pretty well. Throughout my finishing high school and college, I worked with law firms. One of the best in the city, McCarthy and English, Harry Lipstick, I actually can say that it was now looking in retrospect, it was a plus because my parents had it in their mind that I was going to become a lawyer, and that was it. I was living still at home, so I had no say in the matter. And I graduated with 4 years. You have to go 4 years to college to go to law school. And I did the LSAT. I actually got admitted to Brooklyn Law.
Nice.
And when I went to the first year, it was really traumatizing to me, because for anyone that has gone to law school, the first year is brutal. And to be doing something like that that you don't have no passion for. My sister around that time was graduating from high school. So she asked me to do her prom dress because she had seen me, making. I was moonlighting while I was working on the law firm and going to college. I was moonlighting, doing little, making little pieces and going through my friends. All my friends, I didn't have no friends in the law field. All my friends were creatives, hair, makeup, photographers. So I will always be involved in their work. I would go to their photo shoots, bring my little stuff, and always got shot at. My that I brought always got selected to be edited. And my sister saw me through that, and she asked me to make her prom dress. And I did it. I was so excited. I made it like 3 months before her prom dress. And her friend saw her prom dress, and they ended up all asking me to make their prom dresses. So I ended up making, and that was my aha moment. That's when I said, okay, I think I got something here. And that's when I told my parents that I wasn't going to finish law school. That didn't go well.
Well, then I guess a follow-up then, Edwing. Now, you know how sometimes parents are a little bit disappointed. Were they disappointed in any way with?
Oh my goodness! I was thrown out of the house. My mom said, "If you feel so grown and that you can make your decisions, I guess you can live on your own now." But looking in retrospect, I think I'm not. I feel that probably was one of the best things that could have happened to me, because working in law firms in such a corporate legal field gave me a lot of opportunities that a lot of my creative colleagues don't have, because now I understand, I understand a lot of things that now they come handy doing my own thing, working as on my own business. So that's I'm sorry, guys. That's one of my workers just coming in, so excuse the sound.
Okay.
It has been an interesting ride for me, because just the ability to write your own documents I can see how helpful that is. So yeah, life works in mysterious ways, and that's one of the things that now I'm able to tell other young creatives is that learning outside of being creative, learning all the aspects of being a business person is pivotal in being a successful designer or creative, because even if you work for somebody else, you need to understand ability, all that stuff that are important in today's world beyond just being creative. So I think it was a plus, and now we know I'm the jewel of the family.
You see how it all works out. Oh my God! No. Well, I definitely would need to know from you, Dominique. So you coming to New York and Harlem, and specifically, I'm thinking about the Stevie Wonder album, "Living for the City." I mean, when you stepped into New York and to Harlem, what was it like, man? Tell me about it.
It was a bit of a culture shock. First, financially, because when I was paying for my 2-bedroom townhome with a yard and 2-car garage, I was paying for a shoebox apartment in Harlem. That was the biggest shock for me. And then also just being surrounded by beautiful Black people. Coming from Tennessee, we are not culturally diverse at all. So I always felt like a unicorn. I always stood out, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad. Just being in a community of people that looked like me, that were also very supportive and knowledgeable, and as equally as fly. I loved it. I ate it up. And at that moment, I knew Harlem was the place for me.
Nice. Oh man, I gotta say though, so Louis, if there's one thing I gotta say about you and your journey, you're surrounded literally by a family, a system that surrounds you. So tell us about that. Tell us about the support that you feel being here and chosen Harlem and Harlem Haberdashery.
Well, we had no choice. The whole family is born and raised in Harlem, so there was nowhere else this boutique was going to be. It was never going to be a Brooklyn. It couldn't be a Queens. It couldn't even be a downtown Manhattan. It had to be Harlem, and that's where we're actually going to keep it. We're not even going to think about no other place. It's always going to stay at Harlem based. But again, we are the first family of fashion, and it's crazy because out of all 9 of us, I am the only one that went to school, and I'm so mad because I done went and set up in these classes all these doggone days to turn around and have 8 other people doing the same thing, or just as fly as me, and didn't have to go and spend all this money. But we are.
I'm loving that.
We have everybody from Guy Sr., who is the head of 5001 Flavors, my business partner, but now his son, Guy Jr., has a huge brand. Billionaire New York, which is just killing the game, but then we have Tails Barnett, my nephew, who is Shay's brother. He has Dead Couture, but now he has branched out and has opened up 2 stores. He has a store in the Poughkeepsie Mall and a street in Poughkeepsie. Like, everybody just started doing fashion, and it wasn't that they had to know the trade, know the needles and the threads. It was just that they knew that they wanted to make a difference. They knew that folks walking down the street looking like the same person that they had just passed wasn't going to make it. We needed to have an outlet where they could find flyness that everybody is not going to have. And that was one of the reasons why we built our boutique, only making 5 of everything. So the pants I got on, there was only 5. I stole 1 pair, so we only have 4 to sell. But we want to keep it that way because, again, we came 30 years now of doing 5001 Flavors, and that was the place for all celebrities who were making red carpet appointments and doing live stage performance. They always had to have that one-of-a-kind piece. So we built the boutique doing that. We wanted everybody to have that red carpet experience when they walk out. Chances are, me being an XL, I'm not going to walk into the party with the small ones in these same dresses. So it was good. But for the most part, we just started off as a brand. We started off doing custom. We then said, well, you know what? This custom is moving, but there's so many people that need to find you. There's so many people that need this, this type of creativity. So then we opened our brick and mortar, 10 years ago, and it's just continuously going, so we're so proud to say that we now have 3 actual stores. One is, the other 2 are called the Gold Way, but they're still under our umbrella, and Harlem Haberdashery, so it's been a wonderful ride. Dominique, and I can't even say anything to Edwin because he's been doing it just as long, but Dominique, you said you want to be at the 10-year mark. Just understand, everything is just like high school. 9th grade to freshman year, 10th grade. And that's how I really learned it. I had to learn my clients. So by the time I became a junior in this boutique, I was like, oh, well, I know what they like. I know what they don't like. There's only a certain person that likes this color. So let's see if we can find a base color and keep that base color. And then when they want to do custom, then we'll customize it and we'll do it in the color that they want. But for the most part, it's been a beautiful blessing. We're happy to celebrate 10 years. I'm going to be, moving from the boutique and just sticking more with the liquor and the beverages, and let the young kids, that's their more of them.
Nice.
They have more of a brand specialist now, so within the next 2 years or so, I'll pull away from Harlem Haberdashery, still there, but I'll pull away being the head, the face, and let the little kids do it. Let's see what they do and see if they can pull some more stuff out.
You know what? That's absolutely brilliant, Louis. One of the things I remember having a nice little conversation with Guy one time, right? Guy Sr. And talking about, you start, of course, in the hip hop world, providing, as you say, the one of a kind outfits for them to walk the red carpet and whatnot. Tell me a good or funny story about one of the what doing an outfit for one of those folk in the hip hop world. Please tell me.
Heck, there's been funny things where I've had shipped suits to Jalen Rose and they didn't have zippers in the pants.
What?
There's been things where we got all the way to LA to do Big Willie styles for Will Smith, and found out they hadn't even put the sleeves in my shirts, but had put the shirts underneath the suits. You know,
Oh my
so
God.
those are funny things when you sit here like, yo, kid, how are we gonna make this ninja do this? Like, so there's always been funny things. You know, more of mine, I came out, you know, by way also as a stylist, you know, so being fired by Mary J at the David Letterman show because she decided to put her normal Kamali jacket on and do touch up and makeup and got the back of the jacket burnt, and I didn't have nothing else. You only gave me $1,200. The jacket was $750. So I mean, I spent for the jacket and the shoes, so wasn't nothing else, you know. So I mean, I've had the funniest things. I've been fired and rehired and, you know, talked about and called all kind of names, you know, just because, hey, I'm trying to do my business. I'm trying to keep people fly, but some folks don't understand it. You know?
I hear you. Well, anyway, please, you guys share a story with us. Come on, tell me. Uh-oh, we lost him. There it goes.
I think that I don't know. I think I've been blessed on that end. I haven't had a real bad story. I mean, always I would say the worst thing that I think happens to me was when I wanted to jump into the whole celebrity thing, and a friend tells me, "Oh, let's go to." This was at the beginning of my career, and he said, "Let's go to the BET Awards." It was happening in LA, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I mean, I didn't make no plans. We just grabbed a whole bunch of luggages and got there. And when I got to LA, I'm thinking, you know, this friend invited me. I'm assuming this person has a hotel room for us, and you know, everything is set up. And when I get there, there is nothing. There's no hotel. There's nowhere to stay. And I'm sitting in the lobby of I think it was the hotel that is next to where they were doing the event at the time. I think it was the Kodak Theater. And I'm like, so where are we gonna stay? And there was no room for us to stay. So finally somebody took pity on me. They let me, and I have no money. And they took pity on me and they said that I could stay over their room, but I couldn't bring the luggage, like to show people. So in the lobby, I was showing whomever I saw, I was pulling out things out of my luggage and showing
Love it.
And then the security came after a while. They're like, "You cannot be doing this here." So we had to take it outside. But I love that moment because we had, and it was one of the most fun trip that I've ever had. So it was again a learning curve that I enjoyed to this day to talk about it.
And Louis, I did notice your reaction. It sounded like that was like a freshman road trip. Is that correct?
Wow, I'm sitting here like, ooh, there was no hotel, not even a U-Haul truck to stay in the back.
We were at the lobby. The lobby became a little showroom, and we were just showing things there. And I ended up meeting some great people. I ended up meeting some of the executives from BET that we're still friends to this day. I mean, some things great came out of it, but it was just the whole idea that for 3 days I didn't have nowhere to stay. That was
I got you.
That was a humbling experience.
The good trick is in the future, always get a 1999 U-Haul truck. You can sleep, one can sleep in the front, or y'all both can sleep in the back. Them clothes will make great pillows and comforters. So
wow.
You will find spring break in Miami. You'll be at spring break one time in Miami. Spring break at Art Basel. You will find more stylists and more strippers sleeping in the U-Haul truck. So I'm just gonna give you a little hint. I done slept in the U-Haul truck.
All right, free game from Louis. So I gotta ask you guys a question because I noticed a theme. So fashion is a creative business, but the emphasis is on the business part. So what have been the challenges that you guys have had from the business side that you've had to overcome in order to be able to express your creativity?
I can take this one very briefly since I'm kind of in the thick of it right now. I think for me, the biggest thing has been the financial commitment. I think a lot of people don't realize how draining a fashion business can be financially, from inventory insurance, staffing, marketing. And then when you talk marketing, you want to make sure that you're targeting the right client, especially as a new business in an economic downturn. So for me, being able to put out engaging marketing content that will draw the particular audience I want in the store has been one of my biggest challenges to date.
So, Dom, who is your audience now?
So my primary target is men aged 18 to 35.
Okay.
But I have found that based on the variety of pieces I have in the store, I've had men, women, old, young, Black, white, Asian. I've seen my customer evolve over time from what I initially thought that person would be. And kind of like you said, Lewis, it's been a learning process and learning how to adjust my current assortment to my current buyer that's coming in.
Correct. There you go. Glad you said that, because one of the things that I had to learn also when having things, and we create and make all of our goods, you know, and so I'm looking at a guy like, that ain't the nigga that I want in my boutique. He ain't wearing that. But then I have to think about, well, Lewis, you're not the one shopping. You're supposed to be selling, so you're supposed to sell what your customer you think would like. You know, so learning that experience, Dominique, you're doing great. I mean, that's why I always talk about you and Edwing D'Angelo. I always talk about you. I'm actually doing a walking fashion tour in 2 weeks. I'm bringing some people from Brixton to both of your boutiques because I want them to see, you know, like the difference in our creativity. All three of us are fly and creative in our own right, and we all have 3 different style boutiques. So that's why you're supposed to be able to say, hey, I don't have it, but I know Dominique has it. Oh, but Edwing D'Angelo can make this, you know, because this is his creative and he can do it in your colors. That's why I do this, because I don't have no problem with jealousy. I don't have a jealous bone in my body, you know. And so for me to just tell people, I thought I was put on this earth to minister by showing other folks, other people, you know, that's my whole life, you know. So when I talk about different, I talk about you guys every single day because I just believe so much, and I'm so proud to have another fashion house in Harlem, period. Not 125th Street, because we know what those are, and those are chains. I'm talking about single occupancy, single Black-owned design boutiques. And so that's why I celebrate you guys, and I'm so happy for you. But Dominique, you know, you'll get it. You'll get it. Just with your pieces alone, you'll get it. But again, don't go in there thinking you see a certain person, because there's a different person each day that walks down that block. So don't go in looking for a certain person, because it's going to be a different person that's going to come and buy it.
And Dominique, you know, I'm an old dude, so you ain't got nothing for me, man. Like, come on.
There's some stuff in there. So, Curtis, that's another thing. You know, I heard y'all talking at the beginning of the thing about, you know, your fashion flyness and your differences. But that's the thing. You have to go into each person's shop, and you have to look outside your norm. Like, I'm sitting here looking at my book of Dapper Dan on my coffee table with this plaid suit. I probably would have went into his boutique and got the pants before I put the whole suit together. So you have to go in there. You have to look. You have to just think outside the box. There's something in there for you. Trust me. There
Okay, all right. You hear that, NightWatchman?
Ready? Absolutely. I'm listen. I'm ready.
Hell, my cousin from Seattle came in my boutique wearing some pants he got at Edwing D'Angelo's place. I'm looking at it like, well, how'd you find Edwing D'Angelo? Oh, because you were talking about it one day and I looked him up. I swear he did something.
Man,
so,
well, Lewis, one of the things I got to say, you totally embody, as you say, really being the big brother there and embracing all. I love that. I absolutely love that. So,
it's also the Harlem spirit of supporting each other. You know, it's funny because you know, we've been doing a number of different shows in kind of different niches, whether it be the restaurants or Lewis was on with our show where we did the
spirit brands.
The spirit brands, and the common theme was that everybody is helping each other. This wasn't about a competition. It's about when we all win, we all win. You know, that's so right. We're loving to see that spirit and that camaraderie. You know, that also helps the creativity that everybody has.
And I'll also say that when I moved to Harlem, Louis was one of the first people that I shared my dream of opening up a boutique with.
Wow.
And seeing him in his space and his success led me to believe I could do it. It gave me the audacity to say, if he can do it, so can I. So he's right. We've built a community, and we try to support each other. And he's an example of that for sure.
Excellent, excellent. I have to know, like, all of you, participation in Harlem Fashion Week?
I have been honored single and with family, and then I have been their judge for emerging designers twice and a stylist 3 times. But
Nice.
as far as me putting my things in it, I have not done so as of yet. Who knows what the future holds, but I haven't. But I do think it is definitely a dope space and a dope stage for, like I said, emerging designers. But I think that our 3 houses here, Edwin may do it, but honestly, Edwin might be a little more above and a little more advanced now than Harlem. So but I think that, if you can do it, do it. I'm probably never going to show, I don't think so. But I would definitely always say, if you want to do it, do it. But I won't be able to do it. It's 7 models. I don't have time for 7 models.
And so Edwin, you just heard the comments. So do tell, you going to do Harlem Fashion Week?
Okay, let me before I answer that question, I want to say thank you to Louis, because it is true. He has been supportive from day one, and he's referred people to me, and that hopefully big things come out of that. So I would like to extend this thank you to him for being so open and so giving. I want to be just like him when I grow up. The other thing is that another thing is that I do believe that in order for all of us creatives that are opening spaces here in Harlem to succeed, we do have to create an ecosystem where we are not just on a healthy competition of sort. I think we need to be in the process of opening a market, a space where people understand that when you come to Harlem, it's not just to come to one location, but it's visit a collective of spaces where different creative exists, from jewelry to makeup to hair to clothing. And I think being able to articulate that in a concise, cohesive manner, I think is very important for us moving forward. We have a strong market, but I think that it's not cohesive yet. I think it can be better, and I appreciate Louis being the leader on that movement. As far as the second question, like Louis said, yes, I think that I have moved a little forward in the process, and I think that those spaces should be reserved for our younger up and coming designers, or up and coming period, because up and coming can be at 60. So I think those spaces should be reserved for those creatives, because they do need those platforms. They do need to be seen by that community, by the community. So I wouldn't take a spot that somebody can utilize and be more successful at it than myself at this point.
Gotcha. And as you said, Edwing, in terms of who you envision as who you design for, any special person or everyone? Tell me.
Back in the days, I used to say, we begin with this ideal that everybody wants to dress a celebrity, that everybody wants to, dress somebody who is on the public eye, somebody who's dope and everybody admires. But throughout the years, I've realized that that's not really what you want. I mean, I love my celebrities. I really do. But at this point, I'm at a position where I believe that I can dress, and I'm from the female point of view. I go from the prom girl to the mother of the bride, and everyone in between. And from the male, as again, I go from the prom king to the father of the bride. So and everything in between. So and that has pushed me to create more, because and that's one of the beauty of having a retail space. I love, because even though I have my atelier, you get to see a range of needs, like as it was mentioned before by the previous guests. When you open these spaces, you believe that you're going to have certain people, and it turned out to be people from all walks of life, all shapes, all colors, and all races. Yeah, I think being that open, being that receptive and diverse and versatile, it's very important. So no, I don't think I have a specific person in mind. I do appreciate that person who wants to be dope, who wants to be well dressed, who wants to be put together in a right way. So that's now I believe is the key, my key client. They do excel, they want to look great.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? And I don't want to criticize a whole entire state. So I have to ask you, Dominique, tell me that since you left, is there anybody who's fashion forward in Tennessee?
You know what? I don't know. I left and I haven't looked back since. But I will say that I have been able to influence some family and friends to kind of come out of their creative and fashion comfort zone.
Nice.
They don't view fashion as a form of expression the way that we do here in New York. I think we view it as more of an art form and as a means to communicate a specific thought and emotion. And back home, they just want to put something on so that they're not, too hot or too cold. But I have been able to kind of change some minds through, my journey and showing how fashion can be used as a means as communication.
Absolutely. I guess the other thing I would say then for you, that do you see fashion transcending, let's say, parts of the South besides the coast, the West Coast and the East Coast? Do you also see other parts where fashion has made an influence? Anybody, tell me, Dominique.
I would like to, if I'm able, I would like to say something about that, because I'm in the process of looking into Atlanta for expansion.
Okay.
And the more I visit the South, Texas, Houston, Atlanta, Miami.
Edwing, hold on 1 second. I just see his head going back and forth. I mean, like, Lewis, do you know something we don't know? Please. I mean,
love to see Edwing D'Angelo in Miami.
Okay,
I would love to see him in LA and Dallas before I see him in Atlanta. Folks have ran Atlanta and oversaturated Atlanta to where I don't need you now, because there's so many different things. I'd rather you take your creativity somewhere where they're going to love it. Them people in Atlanta, they still gonna go buy them RP jeans. They still gonna go buy them Apple bottoms, and they're still gonna go put on this Gucci. At least in Atlanta, LA, Dallas, these people don't care what they're putting on, just so long as it's nice.
Yep.
Just so long as it's fly and long as nobody else has it on. Atlanta, they just repeat each other. That's why they fight so much. I can't celebrate. I love my folks down there, but I hate hearing the back chatter and this haberdashery don't like these people. They trying to be like me. That's because too many of y'all ran down there. Go to a place.
Oh my God!
Go to a place where you need it. Dallas, you would kill it. You would kill it in Dallas. You would.
That's what I visited Dallas. I visited Dallas.
Okay.
And I got that feeling. It's very gala oriented. They believe in events. They believe in red carpets. And that's a plus. But it's funny what you said about Atlanta, because everybody so far has been just saying that in Atlanta. I mean, granted, I have a lot of clients that come from Atlanta to see me here, but this is the first time that I hear that other side of the coin. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, they're not going to share that with you because they're being more selfish. Let's just get them down here. But then when you get down there, are they the ones that's going to be coming to your door every day that you open? No. So don't get stuck down there just because one person said, I want to buy this from you when you get here. Okay, so they got the pants. Well, now I still got more of this fabric. What you going to do with all this other? I don't know. I told you I go by the pants. No. Get to
So,
where you're absolutely celebrated and understand you'll go a lot further than.
oh my
More
God.
free game from Lewis.
He knows. Trust me, he knows.
And Dominique, you've
Question for
heard
Edwin.
that's right. You've heard the thoughts back and forth. Let's hear.
Yeah, I'm curious, at what point did you decide that expansion was right for you? I know you're still fairly new in the Harlem community, so what made you say, okay, I think I'm ready to expand to another market?
You're speaking to me, Mike?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So yes, well, as I mentioned, I have been in the business for 20 years, and Harlem is this is my fifth location. So prior to before the pandemic happened, like in your case, this store was supposed to be open the summer of 2020.
Wow.
So this summer coming up, I was looking into either doing Miami or Atlanta, and as I'm Colombian, and a lot of in Colombia. We have a situation, and that's when at the beginning of our conversation, I told Curtis that in Colombia is 50 million of us. There's about 50 million Afro-Colombians, and Cali, which is the city of the capital of my state, it's the second largest Black city outside of Africa.
Wow.
And in the process of Colombians being trying to do inclusion and all that, I have become sort of a poster child. So whenever they have something of fashion, I'm their the international guest, and I have a lot of South Americans now coming because of my exposure in Colombia, but they always come as far as Miami. Very random, they come to New York. So what to do, and doing the show this year with Art Basel in Miami in December, that's part of the process of one of the stores that I wanted to open, which was Atlanta and Miami. Now, Atlanta, again, is an issue of the amount of clients that I have from Atlanta, and the shows and the trunk shows that I do there. They're very successul when I go.
Nice.
So that's kind of the study that I'm taking, and I don't do anything. I always take my time and do my homework. So we still now post pandemic. I'm reassessing the marketing research, the demographics, the disposable income of the target, and like we were saying earlier, while I'm believing that in Atlanta is going to be a certain segment of the population that is going to support me if I do go there. It can be so fluid that it may happen to be sales. The population is growing and expanding, and there's a big pocket of Latinos in that region as well. And me being Latino, probably be our Afro Latino can be another dish that I can dip my hands into moving if I move there. So yeah, it's about of marketing research. Speaking to people like Lewis, who knows the market for 30 years. And the decision will be made once we decide whether we go to Miami first or Atlanta. But that's our natural sense of evolution, because I'm not a big believer in wholesale. Especially how the business is now with the whole chargebacks and stuff like that. I don't know if that's a viable route for us, but I do believe in a smaller, low overhead. We control the space, we control the market, we control our sales. So that if the evolution to grow is that probably our way to go.
Nice. Well, one of the things I guess I certainly have heard from a number of you has been, let's say, opportunities for growth or expansion. And Lewis, you mentioned that Harlem Haberdashery has, if I've heard correct, 3 locations, correct? Have they all been here?
We have Harlem Haberdashery, but then we also have the Goldway. So the Goldway is under us, yeah.
Describe that.
It's still more of our street luxury store. In this one, we give them a little more street. because Kels is the younger one, you know, so Kels is
Gotcha.
still like early 30s. I'm the 50s,
Right.
so you know I try to keep it a little tailored. Kels likes, you know, some of the stuff that, you know, have date stamps and times on them, and so that's why they've been winning. And he placed them in places where the people want it, you know, like the Galleria Mall. They need a street store, so that's why he's there, you know. And then also the one that's in Poughkeepsie on their main street, because one of our relatives lives up there. You know, instead of selling drugs, he decided to take his money and make a store.
Amen.
Yeah, so we have 3 stores, but the Harlem Haberdashery is our main.
I got you. Now, of course, with you, Dominique, you're trying to absolutely stabilize, grow, and then possible expansion. And if you were to, where would you be looking? Somewhere else in New York, or can we say going somewhere else?
I think the easiest transition would be another location in New York. Through market research and through travel, I've also seen somewhat of a resurgence of the fashion industry on the West Coast as well. And I also see a little bit of New York influence there too. So I could definitely see a shop potentially somewhere on the West Coast, maybe LA, San Diego. But right now, the primary focus is, you know, Harlem and helping build an ecosystem, like someone mentioned earlier. I think it may have been Edwin, to where Harlem is a destination place. Aside from fashion, you've got food, you've got entertainment, because we've got all of the ingredients in the sauce. We just got to come together and make the soup. So right now, my focus is just on helping build the community and spreading love to these guys as well.
Nice. Absolutely. And certainly we do know whatnot that one of the things that influences fashion and style has been music. So and I think, Dominique, when I first met you, we talked about one of the things that Harlem had been known for, and that was Sunday sermon. And of course, Lewis, you know, you're a big fan. So are there influences, let's say, in music that you say, yeah, this would go good with that. This would go good with that. Anyone, tell me, what influences or music styles influence your look?
I'm more so influenced by travel and culture than music.
Okay.
A lot of the brands that we have in the Dominici Collective are global brands. We do have a pretty decent New York representation. A lot of our pieces come from Korea, Hong Kong, Budapest, Portugal, Senegal. So for me, travel and culture is a little bit more influential than music.
I'm glad that you said that, because actually actually have really built your boutique to actually be that. And that's what I actually see it. It is a place where I go get me some fly to travel in, something to take with me on my vacation. So I do see that in your boutique. So that's great to see that identity. That was great.
I'm glad it's translating.
I feel I'm influenced a lot by nightlife. Because of I'm a little bit more regal. So I'm more of an event-driven inspiration. So evening wear is something that is pivotal for me, and nightlife, clubs, bars. That's sort of my vibe. That's kind of where I go with. So Harlem has so many of them that's why you see me out all night, every night.
But I guess that's the reason why your boutique was in the limelight. So I guess that's the reason why, huh?
Yeah,
you had the limelight before, and that used to be a nightclub. So that was
yeah, no, I'm really influenced by nightlife. I enjoy it. I love it. I appreciate it. I'm part of it. And a lot of my information comes from, I'm informed by nightlife, and especially women, and how they dress, how they absorb the atmosphere, the environment of nightlife. So and I translate that into my collections. It's funny because every time I go away, you know, I'm out when I visit these places all over the world. I pretty much sleep throughout the day because I'm so tired from partying all night. So most of the places that I understand them through the nightlife. So
it's market research. That's what it
my
is.
market research. Yeah. But you know what? Truth be told, I'm here at 7:30 every morning. So, no matter what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. Night Watchman, what you got for us?
Well, I mean, it's great to hear all three of your perspectives. I got a question just in terms of your ultimate goal in the business of fashion, because being a designer, running your own shop, and then building your name. A lot of designers have great names, but got to a point where they had to sell out, and a lot of them don't even control their own names anymore. Jimmy Choo, for example. I think Michael Kors only kind of hit the big time when he kind of sold out to another entity that more or less ran the show. But you all seem to be very business savvy and very independent minded. So, is the goal to stay independent, or if somebody came and backed the Brinks truck up to you, would you sell it out to somebody else?
My goal is to stay Black owned, Black operated Harlem.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Yeah. All right.
Nice. Yeah, Edwing.
My goal is to create a global attitude with a local budget. So
now, is that local Harlem budget? Or is that, like, whose budget is this? Is this a Harlem budget?
No. Actually, if you would ask me that question 10 years ago, I would have said, I want to be this global brand and all that. But the more I get into it, the more I realize that global can happen without you being overstretched, that you have to sell out to somebody else. Right now, my goals, like I said at the beginning of the interview, on August 1st of this year, I make 20 years in the fashion industry. So published my coffee table book, which is almost done, and feature my documentary that is also part of that whole that we have been working on it for the last 11 years. Hopefully this year we'll put it out. No, I'm not against working with a larger corporation as far as like expanding my brand. But I think that the key for me is the contracts. How that works out. I'm not in a rush to sell out my brand, but there are components to it that I'm willing to put on somebody else's faster machine. For instance, if I decided to go into home goods or into accessories, maybe that's an aspect that I can handle, that I can brand it on somebody else's umbrella or design. So I'm not against of the overall process, but I'm definitely not giving up my name. That's
so you can license, but you know.
Exactly. And I was careful not to use the word license, because that's where the trouble begins. But there are different ways now that you can manufacture the contracts that you still have control over the brand, because licensing can be also a death sentence. Even if you just license it to make socks, because the socks are terrible, that eventually translate into the brand overall. So, but there are ways now that the major corporations understand that designers are a little bit savvier now, so they work in deals in a more comprehensive, sustainable way for both the brand, the large corporation, and the designer himself.
I love, Edwing, how your legal mind kicks in.
Me too. I was feeling that. I'm like, they're not sneaking the fine print behind him. It's like, you hit it to me English or Spanish. You're not putting it over on me.
so Dominique, tell your thoughts on what you've heard in terms of your brand and expansion, all those things.
Yeah, my goal is similar to Louis, to stay Black and stay independent. I built my name and my brand with these two hands from the ground up. And the goal was never to get into the business to make money. If that was the case, I wouldn't be in the fashion industry right now. It was to really influence and drive the culture and introduce something new with the global brands that I'm bringing into the neighborhood. So I don't see myself selling anytime soon.
Gotcha. Well, you know what, gentlemen, I want some final thoughts from each of you in terms of where do we go? How does fashion look? Let's say 10 years forward, when you're still in business, Dominique. We want to know what's it going to look like. Louis, I know that you're making the transition to the spirits more focused, but let's hear it.
Well, mine is no white socks and colored shoes. And I will say that every day for the rest of my life. So until that has been trashed and put in the garbage, I will stay and remain in fashion.
Man on a mission.
Absolutely. Here we go. And beautiful. And I see NightWatchman, we see Lewis's hashtag. We got all of his stuff there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go, baby. There you go. Okay. Edwing, do tell.
My whole thing again goes back to the ecosystem. I really would like to the legacy of Harlem to continue as a dope directional space. And my focus right now is to help create a strong ecosystem for the ones coming behind us, where they can find a space where they can thrive. As far as the creative coming behind us, my recommendation again is to please educate yourself as much as you can. Learn languages, travel, go see the world, learn other cultures, and most importantly, train yourself in business, because that is pivotal for us to exist moving forward.
And major props to you, definitely, Edwing, for being a proud Afro-Latina. You mentioned that.
Where's my hashtag? They have my name, but I don't have my hashtag. Where is it at?
There you go.
Got you. Come on, man. We're professional operation here. We got everything but your social security number.
I just wanted to break the eye.
They got this. They keep it together.
Absolutely. Well, Dominique, 10 years later, what do we see for the Dominici Collective?
Breaking the traditional rules of fashion, using fashion as a form of expression and freedom. You just do whatever the hell you want to. Like I said, fashion to me is art. And when you put rules on art, it no longer becomes art. It becomes strictly something for other people to consume and not a form of expression. So in 10 years, I hope we see more men in heels, more women in suits, people with purple hair. Louis, you're gonna hate this, but white socks with color shoes. Listen, whatever makes you feel free, go for it. No rules.
Okay, so you hear that, NightWatchman? There's hope for you.
First of all, I do not wear white socks with cold shoes. So first of all, don't start putting any misinformation out on me, Mr. Fox News.
Oh, wow. Anyway, I mean, gentlemen, this has been an incredible discussion. And you know what? We're definitely, if you guys are going to be doing anything special that we need to know about, the community needs to know about, you need to come back on Soul Lounge Primetime, all right?
May 21st, my fashion show at Marcus Garvey Pool.
Oh, well,
okay.
We'll find out if we're invited. We got to be invited. We get these invitations, but somehow the follow through is no bueno. So,
oh my God! This is going to be open to the public, so everybody's invited.
On this Monday evening, I am blasting Edwing D'Angelo if I don't make it to this fashion show again.
I'm going to make sure myself that you're there.
All right,
Louis, didn't you have something happening on May 7th?
So May 7th is going to be the 10-year celebration of Harlem Haberdashery. So we will be doing our annual Kentucky Derby theme. Of course, through COVID, the pandemic, we have been set down for 2 years. But this year, for our 10-year, we are back up and we are ready to serve mint juleps to everybody that comes. Just come fly. I always tell everybody the theme of our party, it's Kentucky Derby theme, but it's what would you wear if you, a boy from Harlem, a girl from Harlem, was going to Kentucky? What would you wear? That's what I want to see. So we are excited about this 7th. We have 5 cases of whiskey for y'all's mint juleps. So we are really excited about that. And then actually the following week, we have Brixton, which is just like Harlem in London.
Yes, that's right.
We have Brixton coming to Harlem. So we have a whole 5-day thing. We're going to be hosting them throughout different areas of Harlem, taking them to, because we were talking about music, fashion, and food. And so we will be doing music, fashion, and food with Brixton. So I'm taking the walking tour from Brownstone to Edwing D'Angelo's Atelier to Dominici Collective. Like, I'm taking these people everywhere because I want them to see Harlem. You know, I love Barbara Askins and I love 125th Street, but that is not all of Harlem. And
not at all.
I don't shop on 125th. I don't know when the last time I've ever even bought underwear off 125th. I shop in Ma and Pa boutiques because I want things that ain't nobody really gonna have. You know, so we have a few things coming up, but I'm so happy. Edwin, we will be at your show and we will be celebrating Dominique, everything. So we'll be there.
Nice.
Thank you.
And
you guys. I so appreciate you.
Beautiful. And Dominique, you got some special announcements, man? Tell us.
Nothing as of yet, but keep June on the calendar as a placeholder. That will be our 1-year anniversary for being open. So we've got something in the works that we're planning to.
Congrats. And remember, Dominique, I am a Gemini baby, so June 15th, baby. Yes.
Party then. Party hard.
All right. Okay. So, just 2 months from today.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So Night Watchman, take us home, baby.
You've been listening to Soul Lounge Prime Time on WHCR 90.3 FM. We're at 7 p.m. on Mondays, and you can find us live streaming on YouTube and Facebook at 8 o'clock on Mondays. So I want to thank our guests, and you can always find us at this time. So like and subscribe us on those channels and come back because we always have the best of what's going on in Harlem and beyond.
Gentlemen, love you guys. Excellent.
Love you, brothers.
Love you back.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Excellent. Take care now.